As I see it, these are the goals that we should have in this movement. We need to bring the Constitution and Founding Fathers out of exile. We have been affected by the family courts and CPS. All want the same thing. We want enforcement of our God-given fundamental rights to parent our kids. But we are not all on the same page if we don't know what will fix the system in line with the U.S. Constitution. We need to focus on getting educated on what's needed to that end. Otherwise, if folks speak with members of Congress about doing things senators and representatives have no authority to do, they may well just do it. They do it all the time. They violate their oath to uphold the Constitution all the time. And we could end up simply putting Band-Aids on unconstitutional acts and or shooting ourselves in the foot. For example, attempts to fix Title IV and other acts instead of repealing them. If we're going to do something, we need to do something right according to the Constitution. We should seek repeal of legislation that should never have been passed. Here are my suggestions for an agenda for this September. If you don't agree, let's discuss it here or on the various radio or video shows. But I believe we should not have more than just a few main points to advocate for in D.C. The more consensus we have, the better. My suggestions are: 1, repeal federal legislation interfering with or rewarding states for breaking up families. Example, CAPTA, ASFA, Title IV, VAWA, and any others for which Congress never had authority or power to act. Number 2, live stream all courts. Physical infrastructure upgrade of all courts. We could seek a court modernization amendment, which, unlike a parents' rights amendment, deals with a subject the Constitution already addresses, the Sixth Amendment provision for public trials. Again, if you're accused of a crime for which you could have your parental rights taken away, that's a criminal matter, belongs in criminal court. We should seek an amendment. The Sixth Amendment talks about a speedy public trial by a jury. You have the right to a jury trial if you so choose. Well, how do we make it public? In the 21st century, it's called live streaming. Why aren't our courts already being live streamed? That right there is proof of the corruption of the courts. It should have been live streaming years ago. Number 3, Justice Department or FBI Commission, appointing thousands of federal attorneys to investigate crooked judges in all 50 states, rewarding investigators with a bounty for each crooked judge they find. Instead of incentivizing destruction of families, why don't we incentivize attorneys to go after crooked judges? Justice Department or FBI Commission, appointing thousands of federal attorneys to investigate all family court cases in the last few decades, nationwide, to determine violations of parents' and children's rights, rewarding investigators with a bounty for each miscarriage of justice they uncover, and to determine monetary damages for injured parents and children. We need to incentivize justice instead of incentivizing destruction of families. We don't need a parents' rights amendment. That's redundant. The right to parent is well established in federal case law as a God-given fundamental right pre-existing the Constitution. It's one of those among these rights referred to by Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence. Self-evident truths. Common law. If judges violate the first 10 amendments, the Bill of Rights, and the 14th Amendment, Regarding equal protection and the liberty interest, they will ignore a parents' rights amendment also. Parents' rights are not within purview of Congress, not an enumerated power states delegated to Congress. Parents' rights are one of the areas reserved to the people and the states in Amendments 9 and 10. An amendment to modernize courts is extremely hard to get passed, then ratified by 3/4 of the states, but one that Congress could legitimately pass since it deals with one of the Bill of Rights as an update to the Sixth Amendment provision for public trials. It updates the Sixth Amendment for the 21st century. This would allow the people to monitor judges or our public servants. Crooked judges are the problem. Judges are the enemy of parents and children. They intentionally violate our rights to perpetuate litigation. Live streaming courts is how we get judicial accountability in real time, just as we can monitor the Congress on C-SPAN. We may not be able to stop them, but we can watch Congress members who misbehave. We need the same ability for judges to bring them into the 21st century and out of the dark age of secret courts. This should be advocated for the federal and all state constitutions. So if you can't make it to D.C., advocate for court modernization year-round in your state. Again, if you want to know how far we've strayed from the Constitution, read Judge Andrew Napolitano's book, The Constitution in Exile, or follow KrisAnne Hall. That's K-R-I-S, capital A-N-N-E, KrisAnne, one word, Hall. KrisAnneHall.com, or search her name on YouTube. She'll educate you on the history of our Constitution.